Ever wondered what makes McDonald's tick? What's the deal with those golden arches? Well, hold on to your hats because today we're delving deep into the success story of McDonald's. From its humble beginnings to its status as a global fast food powerhouse, we're serving up the juiciest facts and sizzling secrets. So get ready to sink your teeth into some mouth-watering knowledge.
First of all, let's look at the story of the McDonald family. Patrick McDonald, the dad, had a food stand called the Airdrome. This was where his sons, Richard and Maurice McDonald, got the idea to run a restaurant. In 1940, they opened their first McDonald's in San Bernardino, California, which is east of Los Angeles. Besides learning from their dad, the brothers also ran a hot dog stand. This experience helped them a lot. Originally, their restaurant was called McDonald's Famous Barbecue, and they served typical barbecue food. But after a few years, they realized something important that changed everything. Maurice and Richard McDonald started the first McDonald's restaurant in 1948. They changed their old drive-through barbecue restaurant into a place for burgers and milkshakes. This wasn't their first try in food. Before that, they had a hot dog stand near the Santa Anita track.
The very first McDonald's was all about burgers, fries, and shakes. They were cheaper and faster than any other place around. How did they manage it? Well, they did things a bit differently. Instead of having waiters and waitresses, they set up a self-service counter. And instead of making each burger when it was ordered, they had them ready to go, keeping them warm with special heat lamps. This setup might sound familiar. It's the basic design of today's fast food joints. But back then, it was a whole new game for McDonald's. It gave them a huge edge over their usual competitors. The McDonald brothers had a name for this game-changing design, the Speedy Service System. And this system caught the eye of Ray Kroc, a guy who sold kitchen gadgets. He was so impressed with their business model that he bought the rights to franchise McDonald's restaurants all across the land. Before this, the brothers had already given licenses for a few franchise spots in Arizona and California. Then in 1955, Kroc set up McDonald's System Inc., sort of like the early version of the McDonald's Corporation. His very first franchise spot opened up in Des Plaines, Illinois.
Even though Maurice and Richard McDonald created the first restaurant and its way of serving food, many people think it was Kroc who started McDonald's as we know it today. He took the original restaurant in San Bernardino and turned it into a big restaurant business. By 1961, Kroc had bought the company from the founders and was running it all by himself. With all this, Kroc became one of the most successful salesmen ever. McDonald's history is unique because it hasn't been around for a long time compared to other big companies. In the beginning, McDonald's focused on building its business and brand. Over time, they figured out what worked best for them. For almost 70 years now, McDonald's has been growing quickly. They've gained and lost customers along the way, but they've kept opening new restaurants steadily. Let's look back at some important moments in McDonald's history.
In 1937, two brothers named McDonald started a small food stand selling hot dogs. They began their journey in the food business. By 1940, they opened a barbecue restaurant in San Bernardino. This was the very first McDonald's restaurant ever. We're not sure if they sold barbecue rib sandwiches, but it's fun to think about. Then in 1948, the McDonald brothers changed their restaurant to serve hamburgers and milkshakes. This change is considered the beginning of the modern fast food model. They got the idea from Henry Ford's assembly lines in Detroit, according to their memoirs. In 1953, McDonald's opened its first franchise restaurant in Phoenix. Although the McDonald brothers didn't focus on franchising at first, they did open several restaurants in Arizona and California early on. The following year, in 1954, a man named Ray Kroc visited a McDonald's restaurant while traveling around selling appliances. He was surprised to see so many milkshake machines in a small burger place. Ray Kroc then bought the rights to open McDonald's restaurants all over the country.
In 1955, Ray Kroc opened the first franchise McDonald's restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. This is often seen as the beginning of the modern McDonald's company. In 1956, Ray Kroc and Harry Sonnenborn made a smart plan. They decided that McDonald's would own the land where franchisees built their restaurants. This plan, still used today, is considered one of the biggest financial moves McDonald's ever made. By 1959, Ray Kroc made Harry Sonnenborn the first CEO of McDonald's. In 1961, Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald brothers for $2.7 million, which would be about $27.7 million in 2023. The brothers kept their original restaurant, now called Big M. Ray Kroc then opened another McDonald's nearby that did so well that it put the first ever McDonald's out of business by the end of the 1960s. McDonald's is a big company that sells hamburgers and other food. Here's a simple story of how it grew. In 1965, McDonald's started selling shares of its company on a stock market in New York. 2 years later, a man named Kroc became the boss of McDonald's. They also opened their first restaurant in another country, Canada. In 1974, they opened a special house called Ronald McDonald House to help sick children and their families. In 1984, the boss Kroc passed away.
Back in 1990, McDonald's made a big move by opening a restaurant in Moscow, Russia. This was a significant event because it signaled improved relations between countries that hadn't been very friendly in the past. On its opening day, a whopping 30,000 people showed up to grab a bite. Fast forward to 1993, and McDonald's introduced a new type of restaurant called McCafe in Australia. By 1996, McDonald's was expanding rapidly, doubling its number of restaurants to 20,000 worldwide. In 1998 and 1999, McDonald's went on a buying spree, acquiring companies like Chipotle and Boston Market. However, they eventually sold off these acquisitions. By the turn of the millennium in 2000, McDonald's had opened more than 11,000 restaurants in countries beyond just the US. In 2015, McDonald's experimented with serving breakfast all day, hoping to attract more customers. Unfortunately, it didn't have the desired effect and didn't bring in as many new customers as expected. As of 2022, McDonald's was thriving. They had over 40,000 restaurants in the US and various other countries, and their shares were valued highly. They made a hefty profit of $6.2 billion from selling their food. Throughout its history, McDonald's has faced legal issues, including a famous case in the early 1990s known as the coffee lawsuit.
Back in 1994, a woman named Stella Liebeck sued McDonald's. She spilled their super hot coffee on herself and got really bad burns on her legs and thighs. McDonald's made their coffee hot, more than 190 degrees. This landed Liebeck in the hospital with serious injuries, and she had to pay over $20,000 in medical bills. McDonald's didn't want to cover her bills. They only offered her $800, which made her upset and led her to sue them. Another issue that keeps coming up with McDonald's is how healthy their food is. People are worried that McDonald's food is a big reason why many Americans are overweight. Critics say McDonald's focuses too much on making cheap, not-so-healthy meals. A big moment highlighting this problem was in 2004 when a documentary called Super Size Me came out. In recent times, McDonald's has been in the spotlight with other fast food places for how it runs its business and hires workers. A group called the Service Employees International Union has organized many strikes at fast food spots across the country, often at McDonald's. They called this movement the Fight for 15. Which aimed to raise the minimum wage for everyone to $15 per hour. McDonald's hasn't strongly taken a side on this topic, but it has slowly started using self-ordering machines in some of its restaurants. Then, in 2019, it bought a company called Apprente, which works on artificial intelligence. People generally think this purchase means McDonald's wants to focus more on using technology and less on hiring lots of workers to save money. Looking back, when the McDonald brothers started their hamburger place, they fired all their 20 waitresses and switched to self-service. This helped them sell hamburgers for just 15 cents each. So this move to rely more on technology instead of lots of employees is not new for McDonald's. McDonald's has been doing well with its shares in the past few years. The price of its stock reached an all-time high of $298.41 on June 3, 2023. This made the total value of all its shares, called market capitalization, $218 billion. If someone invested $10,000 in McDonald's shares at the end of 2013, when each share cost $87.58, they would have made $24,072 by now. The company has been opening new stores, changing its menu, and making it easier for people to buy food online. These things have helped McDonald's make more money. Some people say that the recent increase in McDonald's stock price is part of a bigger trend. Since 2009, McDonald's has been doing well in the stock market, and its share price has gone up a lot. Back in January 2004, one share of McDonald's stock cost about $25. Since then, the price has gone up more than 10 times.
And that's a wrap on our McDonald's journey. We hope you've enjoyed feasting on all the fascinating tidbits about this fast food icon. If you're hungry for more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for our next flavorful adventure. Until then, keep munching, keep exploring, and keep those cravings satisfied.